All right, sometimes last year, I did actually buy some sets of laptops. They were very beautiful laptops, HP laptops, decent condition. I got about 80 pieces of these laptops, which I did go ahead to sell on eBay on my website, and transactions were good, sales were coming in just because I got these laptops, for a very, very good price. So because of that, I really had a lot of margins to come to the market to just crash the price, which I did do, and it was a beautiful transaction. I will never forget it. One of the home run transactions I got last year, talking about home runs, from my experience over the years of selling, every year typically tends to have its own home run. Sometimes it might just be in January, in February, March, it doesn't matter what time it is, but I have noticed that year in, year out, there is always one particular transaction that comes in the course of a year that changes everything. And this was one transaction, that changed everything for last year, 2024. But then when I was selling these laptops, somehow I actually was keeping some on the side, because if somebody orders a particular laptop, I take a look at it, I want to send it out. I just wanted to send out the very best laptops, that I could send out. So there were some of these laptops that I didn't really send out just because of one little issue here and there. So in total, I think I did have about 6 or 7 laptops that were just lying on the corner. I was telling myself, I am definitely going to come to these laptops at some point. At some point, wasn't actually coming because I was very busy sending out items on eBay, discovering new things. There were some other projects that came around in life I needed to attend to. And for one reason or the other, these laptops, they just kept being there, never actually went to them. And one way or the other, I have actually forgotten the reasons why some of them were actually kept. If I take a look at some of them, I can actually see a scratch on the screen. For that, it's not a problem. I know that, okay, I had kept this one on the side just because of the scratch on the screen. But for this particular one, I can't really remember why I actually kept this laptop on the side. All right. So today, just like sales are pretty much slow right now, at least for me. Things have not been moving, partly because of my fault as well, because for a very long time now, I haven't actually been listing a lot on eBay. There's a reason for this. I have actually been putting all my effort in just trying to monetize 2 other YouTube channels, because I understand the game. I know that, yes, sometimes when you have a project going, the project right now for me is that I am actually pushing a lot of content on 2 other channels. It's a major project. It's not a project that can be handled, with kid gloves. So I've been actually very, very busy, trying to make sure that I unlock those 2 channels. And truth be said, it has been very, very stressful. So because of that, eBay has actually been a little bit slow. I haven't been listing items. I haven't even been checking on the items I've listed to be sure that, look, I can, maybe tweak the price or just, tweak the title, move things around. I have actually been fully concentrated, on these other 2 channels. But today, I said to myself, eBay is the original mission. And today, I'm going to be taking back things. I'm going to be bringing back things to what it was a few months ago. Of course, sales are slow, but then I can actually be seeing, listing items. I can actually be seeing, looking for how to bring a new product to the market, how to actually improve a listing that has been there for so long. This was what was going through my mind today. And I said to myself, wait a minute, I do have a laptop here. Let me take a look. And then I saw this laptop and I felt, what actually is the problem with this laptop? And honestly, I had absolutely no idea why a fairly decent laptop like this. I'm taking a look at the screen right now. There are absolutely no scratches. Take a look at the keyboard. They all look very, very clean. And the touchpad, everything is looking clean. And it's even up. The laptop was actually cleaned. If you look at the back, there is just no battery. Perhaps I had removed the battery from here for another laptop. There are no RAM sticks. This shouldn't be a problem. I should be able to get, RAM sticks to power it on. And the SSD is also out. But then if you take a look at the laptop, everything looks and appears, to be very excellent. So my mission today is actually to go into this laptop and take a look. But then I see that the fan here is kind of disconnected. I wouldn't know, why that is so. But I'm going to go ahead and take a look at what I can possibly do to ensure that this laptop is actually switched on again, to see what the situation is. And if everything works, I'm going to go ahead and list it, on eBay, because this is exactly what I actually do preach to you guys. When things are slow, shouldn't be a time for you to just, fold your arms and say, okay, nothing is selling on eBay. there's really nothing I can do. There is a lot that you can do. There is just no reseller that doesn't have, what we call a dead pie. Some people may not want to call it a dead pie. You might want to call it, inventories, unlisted inventories. Every reseller has unlisted inventories somehow, somewhere. And when things are pretty much slow, this is the best time for you to go into those inventories and take a look at them. Sometimes you might be surprised at the things that you can actually find out. I am surprised to find this laptop now. Like I said, I wouldn't, or I cannot readily tell what the problem is, apart from the fact that the fan is disconnected here, which I have just, connected back now. I am going to actually go ahead and put it on, take a look at it, test it, and in doing that, I definitely will find out the reason for having left this laptop. And it could also be that this laptop was just left there, not because it had any problems, but just because, I don't know, for one reason or the other, I just left it. But then, now that we're looking for items to sell, this is a very good place to start. In doing that, I actually have a more decent laptop here. This is the same model, but just a bigger version of it. This is actually the HP EliteBook 745G6. But the beautiful thing is that this laptop actually has the same battery as this. So what I'm about to do is to open it up, take out the battery, and possibly place the battery here to just test that the battery on this laptop is working. But then I can actually go ahead to test this laptop even without removing the battery, because I'm 100% sure that if I put a new battery here, it's going to work. So I may not have to open this just immediately, because I can also just go ahead. I'm just going to take the charger, can go ahead and connect this power supply so I can actually put on the laptop just to make the initial check. If everything works with the laptop and, the problem is not with the RAM, not with the SSD, definitely the battery, I can tell you for free that the battery works, because from the over 70 pieces of this laptop I sold, never ever had any issues with the battery. And I do think that this is also in a very, very good condition. So enough of the talking, we're just going to go into action and begin to see what I have to do. First things first, I do need RAM sticks and I do need an SSD to be there. I'm just going to go ahead and grab that. Just give me a few minutes. Right here, I have a DDR4 RAM, 8GB actually, and I have an SSD right here, which I can actually go ahead and slot on the laptop. So the first thing I have to do to make sure the RAM stick is installed, and I'm going to go ahead and slot in the SSD just like that. There is a screw that's supposed to be here to hold down the SSD. So I also need to kind of look for a screw somewhere. Just give me 1 minute. I've gotten the screw right here. It's a very tiny screw, but this is just enough to hold the SSD in place. The beautiful thing about the reseller is that if you have actually been selling this stuff for so long, there's just no way you will have no idea how to get certain things. If I wasn't selling this laptop before, it might have been a problem for me to get a screw like this. But because, man, I have a lot of broken laptops in the warehouse here, it's very easy for me to get something like that. So right now, I've got the SSD in place. I've got the RAM in place. I'm going to go ahead and cover this laptop just to kind of flip it over so I can go ahead and power it on. Hopefully, it doesn't disappoint me. This is kind of the moment of truth, and if it works, that will be actually, interesting. So I'm going to go ahead, hit the power button, just give it a few minutes. Ideally, if it works, you should hear some fans kind of spinning, but right now, okay, right now you see I press it again and the keyboard is lighted up. This is a very good sign. When the keyboard comes up, it gives me an indication that at least there is some form of life, on this laptop. I'm going to go ahead and hit on the F10 key, because on the HP laptop, this is the key that actually takes you, to the BIOS setting. All right, everything seems to be working. I can hear the fan spinning. And if you take a look at that, that's the HP logo. It's coming up. This is kind of beautiful. And that's the laptop right now in the BIOS, page. Two things I heard why this laptop was booting up, and this possibly was the reason why I actually did leave, this laptop. All right. I heard the fan of this laptop spinning very hard, and somehow the fan was actually making some clicking sound, This possibly was the reason why this laptop was just left alone. But then I can actually go ahead and take a look one more time at this fan spinning. if you take a look at the fan, it's spinning right here. I do not seem to hear any sound. Sometimes when you have devices like this kept for so long and you don't actually use them, there might be a situation where the fan is kind of clogged, and because of that, when it's starting up for the first time, it might tend to, make some cracking noise. But when the fan starts to spin and the system gets to work again, sometimes some of those problems, just get kind of cleared up. But then it's very possible that when I was testing this thing for the very first time, to try to sell it, immediately I switched it on, I heard the sound of this fan. I said to myself, no, this is not the best laptop to send out right now. Better send the ones that are in the best condition. And when you are finished with all those, you can begin to come back to this and try to see how you can actually take a look, possibly change some of the parts. If the fan is defective, it's a very easy thing to actually change. If you go onto eBay, you can actually get this same fan to buy. If you have the right margins, which is you have, a very good margin for profit, then you can easily go ahead and buy this fan and replace it. But the way everything seems now, everything seems to be working pretty quietly. I'm just going to listen one more time, or perhaps put up the laptop. I'm just going to hold on the power key for like 5 seconds and the laptop turns off, and then I'm going to go ahead, switch it on again. All right, the light is on, and the problem is the laptop might not be hot enough to actually set the fan spinning. But then there is actually a diagnostic function on this laptop which I'm actually going to use that will enable me check the hardware. In this way, the fan is going to go on full revolution. All right, that's the fan spinning very hard. And everything appears to be very, very beautiful. I don't know if you can hear it, but the fan is spinning on full revolution and very, very quiet. I have no doubt that this is a very responsible laptop. Fan all looking in very good condition. The laptop is telling me now, a post error is telling me that the battery is actually not installed. This is not a problem. I can actually go ahead and get a new battery and just make sure that the laptop works again. Taking a look at the screen, everything looks very fresh. There are no scratches. There are no pixel, errors that will actually make somebody not happy with this. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go ahead and give this laptop, a very decent clean. Make sure everything is properly set up, which is get a new battery, possibly increase the RAM size, increase the SSD size, make sure everything is, good to go, and then go ahead and list it on eBay. Of course, this is going to take me a little bit of time. And this is actually the reason why for so long I didn't come to this particular transaction. But now that things are actually the way they are, this is just the starting point. I'm going to be taking a look at a lot of stuff. And believe me, I've got a lot of things that if I were to be looking at them every day, testing them, making photos, I've got a lot of work, to be busy for the next 2 or 3 months. But then I hope that whatever it's with eBay right now kind of goes away, because the idea is not for you to spend a lot of time testing one device before you can list it, on the platform and sell it for profit. The idea is you get items, you do a minimum kind of check, clean them up, you list them, and they are good to go. But then when you have items sitting like this, if you are not careful, these things might easily add up. Before you know it, you have thousands of dollars, thousands of euros just sitting in your dead pile. I'm so happy I was able to bring this out today. Definitely, I still got some of these that are just lying there that needs to be checked. Hopefully, I'll be able to bring out more, sell them, and actually bring out my profit. This is all about me, practicing what I preach, because I always tend to say, if things are not working on your shop on eBay, shouldn't be a time for you to just sit down and be idle. It should be a time for you to be seen doing something. No amount of work is too small. Everything that you do actually moves you, one step further to your goals. Don't be discouraged. Continue to put in the work. At some point, everything is going to pay off. I hope this video finds you well. If it does, go ahead and be subscribed to the channel. Until I see you again in the next video, peace.